started, I'm going to bring up, where's Josh Spurl, Captain Canada? I'm going to bring Josh Spurl up here. I need Josh up here. And where's Randy Antrikin? Randy Antrikin, all the way from Oklahoma City. Josh Spurl, all the way from Canada. Randy has a outdoor home remodeling business, outdoor beautification. It's called pmhokc.com. Sean, if you can pull it up on the screen, that's pmhokc.com. And then I'll have you on this mic. This is Josh Spurl. He has a company called alwaysbookkeeping.com, I believe. And Josh, I'll let you hop on that mic. How long have we worked with you approximately, sir?
It's been 8 years, Clay.
8 long, terrible years. Pray for this man. Okay. And then, Randy, how long have we worked with you there, sir?
About the same, really. 7 or 8.
7 or 8 years. And then Aaron, we've been, Aaron and I worked together in Shaw Homes. The business grew from 14 million to 151 million. And Aaron now works with, I think, 30 home builders-ish, maybe more. How long have we worked together?
2016 is when we started.
2016. Okay, yeah. So we've been working together a while, and they're all success stories. And since you and I met, how much larger has your accounting practice grown, your bookkeeping practice? 2%? Yeah, it doesn't keep up with inflation. How much has it grown?
About 500%.
About 500%. Okay, and then Randy, you guys have grown quite a bit.
Now we're 14.
There you go. Okay, so these are all growth stories, and so I'm just telling you they have some credibility, but I'm bringing them up here because they're actual entrepreneurs that are doing the thing. So we're going to go through our stack of stuff. The first thing is you got this orange book. Everybody got the orange book? If you don't have the orange book, I'm a bad host. It's the orange book, and we're going to open to page 4. Okay, page 4, and there's quite a preface in this book. So you're going to page 4. You're going to flip to page 4, and once you go to page 4, you're going to find a picture of a triangle, but this is not a pyramid scheme, nor is this an Illuminati conference, okay? Everybody wave at me when you find page 4. Page 4. Kind of looks like this, page 4. Everybody got it? Page 4, you got the triangle? Not an Illuminati conference and not a pyramid scheme, but it does start with a pyramid. Okay, and then you'll see on page 5, you'll see this is what we call a workflow, and page 5, that parallels this whiteboard right here. So when a lot of people come to a conference, a business conference, the theory is they might want to grow a company. But some people consider that to be a marketing endeavor. Okay, they're like, I need more leads. I need more leads, man, more sales. Some people think it's an accounting conference. I need more accounting, bookkeeping, got to know my numbers. Some people think, no, I can't find good people. This is a hiring conference. Well, it's all of it. It's all of it together, right? Getting all those systems working together. But what we want to do, if we build a business properly, the purpose of a business is to help you hit your goals. So somewhere on this pyramid page, page number 4, I'd like you to write down, okay, a business exists to serve you as the owner. Now, if you're here today and you're not the owner, this could be an awkward conversation, but the business exists to fill in the blank, right? But a lot of business owners that I know, they build a business that they hate, and they're trapped in their own business. They work crazy schedules. They're the only one who can't call in sick. They're the only one that can't take a day off. They're overwhelmed. They're underpaid. They somehow get stuck with all the taxes, the nights, the weekends. Who can relate to this story? Okay, so that could happen. And so we want to build a business that creates time freedom and financial freedom for you so that you can do what you believe God's called you to do. So somewhere on this page, again, a business exists to serve you. I believe that is important to write down. Also on page 4, very important for you to write down that your business is just a vehicle. And I'm going to start with Josh on this. Josh, you meet with entrepreneurs all the time. They have a business. And when they call you, they say, hey, I'm looking for a bookkeeper or an accountant. What percentage of the time do they say, I have no idea where my money went? When you talk to them by default, is it 2%, 50%? What percentage of the time does the entrepreneur not know where their money went?
I mean, half of the time they would say they don't know where their money went, but the other half of the time they think they know where their money went, but they don't know where their money went.
What percentage of the time does the entrepreneur fundamentally not know their numbers?
I mean, the new ones who reach out to you, that would be 100%, because if they knew, they wouldn't be reaching out.
All right, so we're going to go to Randy Antrikin, who's not an accountant, but he builds things. Randy, is it possible to finish building a pool, a hot tub, an outdoor project, and not be profitable if you're not watching those numbers? Is it possible?
It's very easy to do that. I mean, I did that for years and then got my stuff under control.
Okay, Aaron, you help home builders. Is it possible, normal by default, for someone to build many houses, millions of dollars of homes, and not make a profit?
Yeah. It's actually the most common thing I see is that at the beginning of the conversation, we know our numbers cold all the way through, and then when we dig into the numbers, they're like, how is it possible that I'm not making money? So
And by default, you won't make money, okay? And I'm going to give you some statistics that are alarming. If someone might want to vomit, please don't, because it's kind of contagious. If the guy next to you vomits, then you want to vomit too. And then, so don't do that. But, okay. Who remembers the year 2015? Awesome. Okay, so we're going to, Sean, look it up on the screen. 2015, type in 2015, self-employed, 10 million. Type in 2015, number of self-employed, 10 million, hit enter. Okay, so in 2015, which was before now, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, there was a total of 15 million self-employed people. Remember that, 2015? Remember that? Now, this year, Sean, go to usdebtclock.org, which is 2026. We're now down to 8.8 million. So it's the first time that we're under 10 million. And so it went from 15 to 8.8. From 2015 to 2026, we went from 15 million self-employed people down to 8.8. Are we on the same page? Okay, and I'm not going to talk about COVID-19, but I kind of want to, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to talk about Fauci, but I may impersonate him later, but we're not going to get into it. But that was a thing. Who remembers that? That was a thing, okay? But before that, who remembers the year 1999? There were 21 self-employed people in 1999. 21. Think about it. In 1999, who remembers 1999? Okay, 1999. There was 21 million self-employed people in 1999. That's the year I graduated high school. There was 21 million. Then in 2015, it had dropped to 15, and now this year it's at 8.8 million. Do you see that? usdebtclock.org. You go to the middle. It's a middle column right there, 8.8, and that number drops every single day. If for a great way to motivate or to demotivate yourself, pull this up during Thanksgiving or Christmas on the family big screen and just let this play in the background, and you'll go, dear God. Okay, but anyway, but if you look in the middle column, if you scroll down, you'll see that, okay? So what's happening is being successful is statistically, you should write this down, and this is why we have Josh up here. In America today, you have 343 million people in America, so write that down somewhere on this page. There's 343 million people in America on page 4, 343 million Americans, and you have 8.8 self-employed people. So what percentage of America even tries to be self-employed? I'm looking at Josh like he has a calculator in his brain.
3%.
Okay, so so you're right around a little under 3%. We got that? So there's 343 million people in our country, and you're down to 8.8 million self-employed people. You're right under that 3% range. Okay? Now, Inc. magazine did a recent study, and they asked people, hey, how long do you make, like when you start a business, how long have you made it? How long are you around? They researched people that started a company. Are you still around? Okay, Sean, look this up. Inc. magazine found that 96% of people that start a business are completely out of business within 3 years. Which means in America today, you have a 1 in 1,300 chance of being self-employed and successful. It's kind of like a high school athlete wanting to play in the NBA. You know what I mean? It's like, coach, my goal is to play in the NBA. That's kind of that sort of thing. It's a 1 in 1,300 chance by default. So the reason why I'm going to bring up at least 25 successful entrepreneurs and celebrate their story is because it is possible, but by default it won't happen. Are we on the same page? We get that? So I'm teaching you proven systems and processes that will work, and I promise they'll work if you follow them. But they don't work if you don't follow them, and I wouldn't be teaching them if they were happening by default. Are we on the same page? Okay, so these are things that are not happening by default. These are things that if you don't do these things by default, you wouldn't be doing them. Okay, these are things you have to learn a new skill set. All right. So on page number 4, I want to ask Aaron the question here. Again, this is the pyramid. Okay, you got 24 hours in a day, and you want your business to create time freedom and financial freedom, so you can do the things on this page number 4, okay? So you want to write down your goals for your faith, your family, your finances, your fitness, your friendship, and your fun. And you see where it says win next to it? You see where it says win? Faith, family, finance, fitness, friendship, fun? Because what gets scheduled gets done. Are we on the same page? So how many of you, by show of hands, traveled some distance to be here today? I greatly appreciate you investing in yourself to be here. But you're here because you chose to be here. You're mentally here. You're physically here. Being present is a present. Every day is a gift. You're here, right? In the same page? However, to be here, what gets scheduled gets done. If you didn't schedule it, you wouldn't be here. We on the same page? All right? And so we are in a world right now where, Sean, look it up right now. According to Nielsen, the average American spends 11.3 hours per day consuming social media.
Hello.
11 point, is this on? 11.3. That's nuts. 11.3 hours per. Did you see the video about the thing with the? Have you? Dad, Mom, have you seen the video? Did you see the guy who looks like Jeffrey Epstein? Look at him. Look at him. Have you seen it? Look at. 11.3. Sean put up on the screen. The average person is now spending 11. You see that on the screen up there? The average person is spending 11.3 hours per day consuming social media. So if we're going to have success, we've got to seize the day, right? And we've got to schedule time for what matters. So going to Aaron, then we'll go to Randy on this. Aaron, your faith goals, when do you pursue those? Do you pursue those? When do you do it?
I start at 5 a.m. That's when I start into my time. I get quiet. It's the early part of the day. I go seek God first, get instructions from headquarters, right? So that's like the first 30 minutes to an hour of my day, depending on the day. And then, of course, I have Sunday morning. So
skipping ahead to fitness goals. Randy, fitness goals. When do you schedule time for fitness goals? Do you schedule time? Do you not schedule time? Fitness goals.
Well, everything's on my calendar. I work out Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, the exact same time every week.
Tuesday,
Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Sean, pull up my calendar if you can for next week, okay? Because what gets scheduled, everybody? Yeah, but what doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. Are we on the same page? Because what happens is, this is what happens is, I know John from Metro Christian. This happens at Metro Christian. John would never do this to me, and I would never do this to him, but I know him from Metro Christian football games. People will say, we should get together. You ever heard that? You see someone at church, we should get together. And it's like, we should. Next time you see him at church, we should get together. We should. And the third time, you're like, oh, crap. We have not gotten together. Have you seen that phenomenon? And now you're just trying not to see them, but then you go to the grocery store and you're trying to buy toothpaste and you see them again. Right? So, but if you're going to get together, you need to schedule time, because what gets scheduled gets done. Are we on the same page? So you want to schedule time for your faith, and I want you to write it down. This is all about you today. It's not about me. So write down, when are you going to schedule time for your faith? And if you say, I'm not going to schedule time for my faith, totally fine. You just won't spend any time on your faith. Make sense? Everyone on the same page? Yeah. Being real, kind of a confessional. It's okay. We'll work through it. I didn't read the Bible at all till about 6 years ago, because I don't find the Bible to me to be a very motivational book. I find it to be a very there's a lot in there. Every time I read it, I'm like, he's talking negatively about me. It's so convicting. This book is so convicting. I hate this book. So you read Mark, you start going, I need to change everything. So by now I read it every day because it's in my schedule. But that's a thing. I didn't start that until about 6, 7 years ago. So again, faith, okay? Family, all right? Family. I try to harass my family from 6 o'clock until they go to bed every night. You might say, you're not balanced. You're a horrible father. Why aren't you getting home at 2 or 3 or 4? I never take my kids to school. You don't have to agree with me. I've never taken them to school, never will take them to school. They will graduate, and they will have never experienced me taking them to school for their safety, okay? I've never been to a parent-teacher conference. Don't know what that is, not going to go, don't care. I don't actually want my kids to go to school. That was a decision my wife made. I said, okay, it was fine. I want them to be homeschooled, but they're in school. Don't like the school, but we go to the school. I wish the school would shut down. When COVID shut down, I'm thinking, please don't ever open again. They'll be smarter. Homeschool. I was behind the COVID conspiracy. I was working with Fauci. We got to shut the schools down. We got to shut the schools down. We got to mitigate the virus. Shut the schools down. That was me. I hate school. Okay, so, all right. So, but I'm home from 6 to 10. I'm not home on Saturday. I'm never home on Saturday. I work 6 days a week. Now, someone should write this down. Disagree with me. Write it down. Pray about it. Rebuke me. Yell at me later. It's okay. In the book of Genesis and the book of Exodus in the Bible, which are controversial books, which I read, okay? Genesis, Exodus. Who's read these books? Okay. God worked 6 days and rested on the 7th. Now, that could be an error. That could be a pattern where God was like, oops, I meant to say 40 hours a week. Oops, I meant to put 40 hours a week in there because FDR came up with that in 1938. Okay, so I like to work 6 days a week. I'm not arguing with you that you should, but that's what I do. So 6 days a week, I'm working Monday through Saturday. What am I not doing on Sunday? Working. What I am doing 6 days a week. Who knows what I'm talking about? Who grew up in a farming community? Farming community, I'm a 6-day-a-week guy, rest on the 7th, but I will tell you, if you say, well, where did the concept of the 40-hour work week come from? Write it down. Don't believe me. Somewhere on page number 4. Don't believe me. In 1938, FDR, who was a socialist, who was married to a lesbian, Hello, this is kind of early for the conference to be talking about that. The socialist and his lesbian wife came up with the 40-hour work week in 1938. Look it up, don't believe me. It's called the Fair Labor Standards Act. It was invented in 1938. Turns out our founding fathers were not working 40 hours a week, running around going, what about life balance? Brother Hezekiah, what about life balance? No, they were farming, they were growing things, they were building their homes, trying not to starve in the winter, they were trying not to die. Somewhere around 1938, FDR and his lesbian wife, they're going, 40-hour work week, let's do, and now people do that. But I don't aspire to the 40-hour work week. I go 6 days a week. But you might go 40, that's fine. You might go 30, whatever. On the same page? Faith, family, finances. Finances. Your clients, you coach your clients to look at their finances. Most people by default do not look at their finances ever. And it goes into the junk drawer where you get the batteries. Who knows what I'm talking about? You got a battery. You have a remote to a VCR. Your kids don't even know what a VCR is. And you got a battery just in case you pull it back to watch your wedding video from 1987. You know what I'm talking about? And in there you got like a staple, like a staple, like leftover staples to a stapler you do not own. And you have an iPad box. That's where you look at your finances. Never. And then you move it to the attic because you don't want to throw it away. You move it to the attic. That's the final step before you throw it away. You can't purge. Go to the attic. Why do people put their finances in the attic, and how do you get your clients to take that crap out of the attic and look at it every week?
People just, they don't want to know, especially when they're struggling. So when you get clients who are struggling, a lot of times they'll miss their meetings. But the ones that are not struggling, they'll call you from the cruise ship from the middle of the ocean to review their numbers. And not
Repeat that again,
not
please.
miss their monthly meetings. So the way we get them to show up is we schedule a monthly meeting all the time.
Okay, so what we're trying to do here, okay, looking at this pyramid, okay? So you want to schedule time for your faith. I just want you to write down a time, okay? Faith, when you look at faith. Okay, family, when you spend time with family. I'm telling you so you can judge me. You can go, you're a horrible person. That's fine. But you need to have a time that you spend with your family. For me, it's nights and then Sunday. I like go 6 to 10 and then Sunday. That's what I do, 6 to 10 every day and then Sunday. You might say you're a horrible father. You've missed out on the most precious moments of their life. But I enjoy working 6 days a week, resting on the Sabbath. But you might say you want to work 4 days a week. Fine. You want to work. I have one of my most successful clients. I'm not kidding. He literally works 3 hours a day. That's what he wants to do. Great. Awesome. I would be talking to a suicidal therapist if I was working 3 hours a day. I would be having some problems. I don't want to do that. Okay. So next, friendship. Friendship. Randy Antrican. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Okay. Friendship, okay? The Bible, Sean, look it up. It says, for a companion of fools shall suffer harm. And someone says, I don't like the Bible. That's okay. Tim Ferriss says you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You say, I don't like Tim Ferriss. We'll go back to the Bible. For a companion of fools shall suffer harm. It's in the Bible, okay? Randy, now that you've built some success, you tend to hang out with successful people. I watch you do it. How has it impacted your life choosing to hang out with people that are good to their wives, good to their kids, and good with their business?
Well, I think you just have a lot more fun when you're hanging out with them. You're talking about similar stuff. You're not around that negativity. You're motivating each other. You're running ideas around by each other. So, I mean, that's really, I don't hang out with a lot of friends, mostly my kids and stuff, but when you are around your friends that are like-minded, it's so much easier to stay in that mindset.
Faith, family, finances, fitness, friendship, fun. Whatever you schedule time for gets done. Sean, will you put my schedule on the screen so we can look at it? We can analyze next week and tell me what I'm doing. This is my schedule. This is it. There it is. You look at it and you go, dun, 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 dun. This guy has no life balance. This guy's a terrible person. Because someone looks at it and they get triggered. What about margin for your life? Do you hate people? What's wrong with you? I like this schedule. I don't know what to do with downtime. You might like downtime. Downtime's when I'm sleeping, okay? Somebody else, though, you might have a vastly open schedule. But what gets scheduled gets done, all right? So I'm going to switch you real quick and Steve Currington for a second. Steve, bring up here. This is Steve. Steve is an interesting character because he never misses his business coaching meetings. I've worked with you now for how long, Steve?
Before Aaron. Long before Aaron. I actually introduced Aaron. I'm the reason that Aaron's even been successful, I think. So
okay.
Because
Thank
you
you,
met him in
Steve.
16, but I introduced you. December of 15 was the answer.
So this
Yes,
is.
you did.
I just thought I'd stab that on
That's so
Aaron.
funny.
He was nothing until he met me.
Okay, now Steve will call me though for our coaching call, and he'll go,
Clay, what do you want to talk about on today's call?
and I'm thinking, is he in space? Is he in space? It feels, and every once in a while you hear like Sean Copeland, he's the owner of Regent Bank. He's like, "What's up, Clay?" And I'm going, "Are you in an airplane with Sean Copeland?"
Yeah, we are on an airplane flying to.
So why do you call me sometimes from your plane for our coaches meeting?
Well, because I have Starlink and it works. So why not? It's boring up there. You're in cruise at 11.5 and you have internet. So it works just like it does at your house.
And what do you do for a
And
living
it
that
sounds
allows you to
fine to
buy?
me.
What do
It's
you do for a living that allows you to buy a plane and into vehicles and all the things you like to do?
I'm an exotic dancer. Just kidding. I'm an exotic.
No,
Like that.
what happens is, because occasionally I have to give Steve an official rebuke.
This is true.
So that's the first official rebuke of the day. Sean, do we have the rebuke sound? Thank you, Sean.
And
Okay.
after the fifth one, usually he gets muted. It's coming.
Okay, all right.
I do boring residential home lending. So people, there you go. There's a review. All 50 states, you buy a house, you need the money because nobody has 500 grand in cash, and even if they did, they should keep it in the bank or, you know. So you come to me, I give you a mortgage.
So SteveCurrington.com, that's his website, SteveCurrington.com. So just to be clear, we all have different goals for our faith, our family, our finances, our fitness, our friendship, our fun, but what gets scheduled gets done. Are we on the same page? So Steve, why do you often go to the Bahamas, or what do you do when you go to the Bahamas? Like, what are you doing?
You go do stuff that other people can't, like fly to little tiny islands. For
What
no
kind of
reason.
island do you fly to? Like, how big is the island?
Oh, I don't know. We went to Chub Key. You can only get there by boat, which
Can you
takes
look
like
that up
2 or
real
3
quick, Sean, to
days.
verify this is a real story?
And then, but it's spelled C-A-Y. I don't know why they do that. It's like K, but it's Key. So if you look it up, Staniel Key, we stayed there for like 4 days at an Airbnb, which was really cool because, like the runway, like the airport, the fence, like there's no fence because the fence like fell over, and there's no taxiways. So once you land, you have to back taxi on the runway. So if there's like a caravan coming in, you got to get off the runway because the people fly in from Fort Lauderdale or something. But when you have a little, Cirrus like I've got, you can get into a lot of different places that you can't otherwise go. But yeah, that place is cool because they had there's like a marina. There's Staniel, yeah. So they were doing it was like an island party. It was almost like a block party for the whole island to raise money for their hospital. So I got to go back because I bought 2 bricks that are supposed to be in the pathway that go up to the thing. But they had this like massive cookout and they shut the whole town down. It was awesome. But you have a golf cart and there's no one there. And the water's like crystal clear blue at your like middle of your calf for like 3 football fields out.
And
So
the
that's
reason
why
why I'm
you do it.
bringing up different entrepreneurs and different personalities, because everyone's got their own different goals. So if you're here today, again, the topic is you, helping you get to your goals because your business exists to serve you. Yeah, I'm a bad teacher. Eventually, it'll resonate, it'll connect. The business does not exist to create jobs for the betterment
Of the city of Raleigh, North Carolina.
because if you go to the Chamber of Commerce too many times, like ever, you're going to think that, I remember I built America's largest wedding entertainment company, and they would always, when I'd win awards, the people that were antagonistic to my success would always give me the award. Like the mayor or the governor. We'd like to thank this year's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark. We'd like to thank him and on the behalf of the great state of Oklahoma. And I'm like, you people are the problem. Why are you giving me the award, So, your business doesn't exist to provide jobs for the community. It doesn't exist. It exists so you can create time freedom and financial freedom so you can do what you believe God's called you to do. Does that make
Most
sense?
of that you can't do if you're poor. So
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln once said the best way to help the poor is to not be poor. Which
Don't
is
be poor.
interesting. Okay, so let's go to page 5 now. Now let's get into the details, okay? So what we want to do is we want to go through page 5, and I'm struggling, as I read the Bible more, I struggle with Easter because of Ishtar, and so, but work with me on this. Easter egg hunt, but don't think about Ishtar. Just think about it as a light, pleasant, bunny thing, but don't get into the goddess of fertility. Don't do that with me. Okay, anyway, so page 5, it's like an Easter egg hunt. I want you to circle the parts of your business that need help this weekend. All right, so we're going to go through box number 1. Establish your revenue goals. Randy, I want to go to you, then we'll go to Aaron. Revenue goals, it's so important that you have your revenue goals. So like for our elephant in the room, I have a haircut chain. We cut hair. It's called eitrlounge.com. And then Natalie, just as a housekeeping note for the benefit of our online viewers, anytime that Sean cuts to something, will you cut to it on the live stream too so people can follow along? Because my face is the least important thing this weekend. Okay, so we go to eitrlounge.com, eitrlounge.com. That's our haircut chain. And has anybody been there before? Can anybody verify that it's real business? Okay, we got a few people. I like it. I love it when our customers go there. I want to provide you the best experience possible. It's like a men's grooming lounge, kind of like a country club for men's hair, kind of a manscaping environment, okay? But as you can tell...
You guys do waxing?
Just for you. That's a one-on-one thing I do. Okay, but anyway.
I would talk to you later about a Brazilian.
This is my 15th year running the business, and every once in a while people are like, you who has a perpetually bad hair day, you have a hair salon grooming lounge thing? And I go, yeah. And I go, well, why? And I go, well, because I saw a problem, and this is on page 5. You should write this down. There's 4 steps to a business. That's it. There's just 4. Step 1, find a problem. On page 5, you should write this down because somebody's overthinking this. You're in a career right now that you hate just because you have a degree in it.
Hello.
You hate your career and you're doing it just because your dad did it. You are doing a career that you hate just because you always have done it. There's a certain momentum. There's a certain, the proverb says, a dog returns to its own vomit. Who knows that? Sean, look it up. I didn't make that up.
For a dog returns to its own vomit.
Dog, stop doing that. Humans do it too. They're like, well, I hate my career, but I'm going to go back to it because this is what I hate it, but I'm good at it. Good at what I hate, So, okay. So, step 1 is you find a problem. Step 2 is you solve a problem. Step 3 is you sell a solution.
And then eat vomit.
Step 4, you nail it and scale it. Let's try it again. Step 1, you find a problem. Step 2, you solve a problem. Step 3, you sell the solution. Step 4, you nail it and scale it. Which again, I'm not attacking a particular school. It's just why I don't like school. Because I think you can go to school for your entire career and they never talk about this thing. Which is the only thing that matters as it relates to a career, is solving a problem. You find a problem, solve it, sell the solution, nail it, and scale it. So, Randy, when we first met, you were doing a ton of pergola, and you still do, but now you're building beautiful pools. Let's pull up his website, Sean, so we can celebrate what he does, pmhokc.com. When did you recognize, wow, all these people who are calling me and saying, you do beautiful fireplaces and hot tubs and pergolas, they also want pools? When did that happen?
Well, really, when social media took off in 2008, we started doing stuff like that, and it just really took off on its own. And we got out of home building and went straight into backyards, and that's how it started.
And why have you, because pool building is a big thing you do now. How did you get into that more so than fire pits? I mean, you still do fire pits, but.
Well, I built my own pool to be the kind of the guinea pig of the deal. Took a long time, learned a lot, but then at that point we started. We had that photo, we showed that to people. We told them we've built 100 pools, but we've only built 1, and then the rest is history.
So you find a problem, you solve it. You sell the solution, you nail it, and scale it, okay? So we're looking at box number 1, Aaron Antis, the revenue goals. Because in the hair business, I'm just being clear for anybody who wants to get in the hair business, I recommend you don't, but I'll tell you the math of it. It's about $450,000 for me to open a store-ish, $450,000, okay? $450,000 to open a store, which means you get a lot of clippers and shears, all the stuff you want, all the stuff bankers love. Bankers want to repossess barber chairs. That's a great investment. And then you get to hire people that are going, you get stylists, right? And then if you cut someone's hair and they're happy, you make about $4, which is great because that could buy you 1/5 of a steak if you get a kind of a tough cut of steak, right? All right. So it's a tough business. Now, if you're the actual stylist, if you're doing booth rent, maybe you make $20 a cut or $30 a cut. But as the owner who doesn't cut the hair, does this make sense to you, the economics of this? So I operate about a 10% margin-ish. And then if you're a member and you buy other things, then maybe we do a 20% profit margin. Make sense? So I'm making like $8 if everything goes well. Are we on the same page? So if I write down my financial goals somewhere on page 4, I got to figure out how many haircuts do I have to make to hit my financial goals. Are we on the same page? So back to your, Aaron, home building. when you sit down with a home builder and help them scale their company, how often does the home builder maybe not have those numbers totally dialed in?
They always tell me they do have it dialed in until we dig into the finances of individual houses, and then we find that it's not dialed in. And so it's pretty much, I would say every builder, but not on every house, that they're not doing well. So it's very inconsistent because things are not being counted. And if you don't count everything in the home building business, there's a lot of materials that goes into building a home. So if you lose count of stuff, there's a lot of numbers floating around in the ether, and it's very easy to go upside down.
I'm going to bring up Kevin Thomas up here. Kevin Thomas. Kevin is a guy we've had the pleasure of working with for quite a while. And Kevin now, he's grown to where he has 350 employees. So he's grown. I think when we first met him, he had like 50 employees. Now he has 350 employees. So if you want to know how to manage 350 employees, Kevin's a great resource for that. So I'll bring him up here. Going on to the next box here, go Steve, break-even numbers. You got to know your break-even numbers. So even though people think you're a mortgage guy, you're basically selling money, lending money, they don't think there's a lot of overhead, but there is. I mean, you have a team that works with you. You've got processors. Why do you have to know your break-even numbers?
Well, why are you doing it if you don't know what you're going to make? You know, it's not entertainment. If you're trying to, like, actually make a profit, then you've got to know where your income's coming from and where your expenses are going. So that's, like, newsflash. Like, and honestly, people show up and they lose money every single day because they don't know, but they figure out a way to roll it from here and roll it from there to, like, put two nickels together and figure it out. But you just have to know that you're making money, because otherwise, why go to work? I mean, just sit on Facebook for 11.3 hours a day.
True.
Right?
That was kind of profound. Yeah. Okay, so SteveCurrington.com. That's SteveCurrington.com. That's the website. Let's go to multicleanok.com. Kevin, welcome. Kevin, so as far as box number 3, knowing how many hours per week you're willing to work, you and your wife have worked hard for many, many years, and now you're at a point, now we've worked together for a long time. Now you're at 350 employees or more, and now you're traveling, man. You are traveling. You're doing it. Where are all the places you've been to this year or the last couple years?
We've taken a couple cruises. We've been to New York City, Vegas, Houston, just wherever my wife wants to go, I just kind of follow.
But you to build the business, you had to have in your mind, like, this is what you wanted. You had to have the goal in mind. So when you look at these boxes, knowing your break-even point, how profound was that for you to know, okay, this is what I have to charge just to break even?
Before I had a relationship with Thrivetime, I had somewhat of an idea on how to get those numbers and how to break even, but I didn't know why. And so it's very important to make sure I'm looking at those numbers and looking at my costs, looking at my overhead. It's critical to the growth of any company and learning those numbers.
And then weekly, every week we meet and we look at the same numbers every week. Why is that a profound thing?
Because it keeps me accountable. And I think, for me, a huge thing for any owner, I think where owners can struggle, is that there's no one that keeps you accountable. No one in the business anyways. And so my relationship with Thrivetime, they've been able to keep me accountable and say, okay, what are you doing this week? What are you doing on marketing? Are you getting reviews? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? And I enjoy that time. I enjoy being kept accountable, and it keeps me focused, keeps me on target on where we want to go. I know the struggle, and I said this before up here, that that owners will say, I don't think you realize how important I think I am. And they have like a big bubble around their head, like no one can touch me, I'm the owner. But really, the people in the business that need the most accountability are someone that owns and runs the company.
And with 350 employees, you got to make sure that all your employees know what to do and they're held accountable for doing it. Why do you have to have a rhythm established or a cadence with your team? Like, it's not random. It's a very specific schedule that you adhere to. Even though you travel a lot, why do you have to have a documented schedule that you adhere to?
Well, before we met with you, kind of pre-Clay, I'll say, we didn't have a lot of processes in place. And I've hired several people that are experts at processes. I have a general manager that does an amazing job putting everything together. And so that I know if I'm not there, those processes are being followed. Whenever there's a sales, or step 1, step 2, step 3, we close. And with payroll, we have payroll processes, and we have training processes, and we follow them. And we're getting better. Even though we've been in business 33 years, we're still learning. We're still getting better on the processes.
Now, again, we're going to sprint through this for sake of time, then we'll take a break here. But box number 4, you can circle anything you need help on. Figuring out your unique value proposition. Like, what makes you stand out in a crowded marketplace? I know when Aaron reached out to me, he wasn't the only guy to be selling homes in Oklahoma, but yet together, Shaw was built into the largest home builder in Oklahoma. The largest in Oklahoma, but it wasn't like Aaron was the only home builder. In fact, I was working with your competitor before I worked with you.
Yes, you were.
And they were Oklahoma's largest home builder. Yeah. And so how do you do it? It's a system. And you just got to follow a system, okay, so we can do that. Box number 5, branding. Your branding has to be great. Your branding has to be first class, okay? Branding's just what do people perceive when they see you, when they find your website, your business card, your logo, your print piece. If you need help on your branding, just circle that, okay? Box number 6, marketing. Marketing is just getting in front of your ideal and likely buyers. Ideal and likely buyers. This is an interesting thing. Every once in a while, I'll call it once a week, somebody will call me and ask me for a business tip, but they don't actually want the answer. That's not my ideal and likely buyer. They'll go, hey, I listened to your show, and I wanted to know, if you were me, what's the one thing you would do to grow my business? And I'm going, well, there's hundreds of things that need to be dealt with, and every week, and it's a weekly process. And so if we diligently take a 1% improvement every week, at the end of 2 years, we could perhaps double the size of the company, and then it exponentially scales from there. And they go, I don't want to grow it in 2 years. I want to get rich tomorrow, And then you go, what shows do you watch when you're not calling me? And they go, Ty Lopez is awesome. I like that one. And there's this other guy who talks about getting rich in 7 minutes. I like him too. And they people want to get rich quick. I don't know how to do that, So again, it's just, but we got to figure out the proven process, okay? Moving on to box. So marketing is getting in front of your ideal and likely buyers. That's what it is, okay? Ideal and likely buyers. Box number 7, create a sales system. We'll talk about that when we come back. Box number 8, you got to determine your sustainable customer acquisition cost. What does it cost you to get a new customer? So if you're marketing and you spend $400 per new customer, your marketing acquisition cost is $400 per customer. What does it cost you to get a new customer? Box number 9, systems and processes. And that's why I want to keep Randy up here a lot. I'm going to keep Steve up here a lot. Josh, you're going to hear from a lot of people because there's a lot of steps that go into building a house. Aaron, framing a house, plumbing a house, tiling a house. Processes. It's a lot of process. You got to have processes, okay? Box number 10, management. Managing humans. Who's ever tried to manage people?
That is awesome.
I actually enjoy it. Maybe you don't. Maybe you say, you're sick. I think it's kind of fun. I think at Humanity, we're all kind of a comedy show. We all have our own little idiosyncrasies, our own little quirks. Don't touch my stapler, you son. Who touched my stapler? Why would someone sit at my chair? Don't they know that's where I sit at church? Have you seen these people? The other day I sat at church. I sat in the no zone. I didn't know. And some guy's like, I sit here. I went, all right. Okay. I felt the presence of God there. He was pretty intense about that. I didn't know this is your spot. There's people like that. I mean, how many of you know what I'm talking about? I mean, it's just, don't touch my stapler. Okay, I get it. All right. So we go into box number 10. Box number 11 is you got to make a repetitive weekly schedule that works for you and your spouse. I've been married for 25 years. I consider that to be sort of an achievement. I think every week I try to sell this product. I don't have a lot to sell, but I do a good job with branding it, marketing it, and selling it. But I want to stay married, happily married, and so I got to figure out the boundaries with my wife, and we got to figure out we're growing together, not growing apart. So many people grow their business in a way that's antagonistic to their marriage. That's not a pro tip, okay? And then box number 12, you got to have human resources. You got to have great people. You can have all the great systems in the world, but if you're managing Beavis and Butthead, yeah. You ever managed Beavis and Butthead? You ever worked with these people? If you want to see Beavis and Butthead, go to the airport. And have you talked to Toll Booth Willie at the airport? Have you talked to this guy?
Oh, yeah.
He's the guy who tells you how much you have to pay for parking at the airport over the weekend. This guy's a fascinating creature right now. He's fascinating. Also, we've got Maverick. Who knows about Maverick gas stations? The guys at the Maverick over here, there's one off Highway 75 right here by Tulsa Hills. They bring their own sound system to work because they're not allowed to change the playlist. They bring their own bass tube, and it's just like foul, unedited. You feel like you're walking into like a gangster rap reunion tour or something. It's just wild, those guys. That's fascinating, okay? Beavis and Butthead working over there. Thank you, yes. Box number 13, you got to do your accounting, okay? And then box number 14, when you leave here this weekend, hopefully you're fired up knowing that you're building a business that's going to help you get to where you want to go. So this is how it's going to go here. All weekend, we're going to do about a 30-minute teaching session, okay? And then we're going to open it up for about 15 minutes to answer questions on the whiteboard. So the questions that we will answer will come from you. So as we teach a subject, if there's any questions that you have at all, just throw them on the whiteboard during the break, and then we'll come back. So it'll be about 30 minutes of teaching, 15 minutes of Q&A, then break. And we'll keep that cadence, that flow, 30 minutes of teaching, 15 minutes of Q&A, then a break. And you guys will be driving a lot of the content as we go through these topics. Any questions you have, there are no bad questions at all, whether you're a startup or a long-time business, we want to help you. And then at noon, for anybody who bought a VIP ticket, there's a VIP meet and greet with Tim Tebow at my house, which is about 300 to 500 yards-ish this way. They'll lead you down the path. I, however, am not a very important person, and I will be here because I'm not allowed. And so I'll be here. And so we'll be eating Mexican food. For anybody who bought general admission tickets, we'll be here. We'll be having a good time as well.
But that Clay Clark, man, he is one character.
It's a good word for him, character. Yeah, that is it.
Good, driven, smart. And I've never met a guy who was so hyper all the time. He's doing so much good. And then I met his mother, and she just says, she just lets him be Clay Clark. I mean, so he's endorsed by his mother, and he's doing magnificent work. So it was great meeting you out there and all the people that he surrounds himself with. Clay Clark starts his days at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, he's a machine. He's a machine.
Yeah. But I have problems with my company starting at 9 o'clock. Yes, hundreds of people showing up at 5 a.m. in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Man, he's a leader of a leader. He's a fantastic young man.
No, he is. He is.
Yeah.
And it's for the folks that aren't familiar with you, and probably few and far between, I first came across you, gosh, probably 15 years ago, or maybe even 20.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
I heard about it on the podcast. Started listening to the podcast, became a fan, and then figured out about the workshop. I own an insurance and financial services agency, and I was hoping to learn from the workshop systems and processes. I'm big on systems and processes, and always learning better ways to run a business more efficiently. The atmosphere's second to none. It's a high energy, really cool atmosphere to be around. Contagious, I would say. Just something every entrepreneur, I think, would appreciate and love. I'd say humorous, high energy, and full of substance, which I think is the key. A lot of business coaches or seminars maybe are high on motivation and making you feel good, but don't have a lot of substance that you can take back and implement, the following Monday, where his does. Man, there's a lot of valuable things. I'm gonna say, this is my second workshop. The first workshop I took back really the importance of a group interview. I used to spend hours and hours interviewing people, screening resumes, and that saving my time on that part is valuable. It was that and then the sales scripting that have been two major things just so far. Man, I think they're missing out on, expert advice from somebody who's been there, done that, built companies, has learned a lot of lessons. That's what I'm always looking for, is somebody that I can learn from that's ahead of where I am. And I think if you choose not to come, you're missing out on a lot of good advice that could help your business.
Hi, I'm Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes. I first heard about Clay through a mortgage lender here in town who had told me what a great job he had been doing for them, and I actually noticed he was driving a Lamborghini all of a sudden, so I was willing to listen. In my career, I've sold a little over $800 million in real estate. So honestly, I thought I kind of knew everything about marketing and homes. And then I met Clay, and my perception of what I knew and what I could do definitely changed. After doing $800 million in sales over a 15-year career, I really thought I knew what I was doing. I've been managing a large team of salespeople for the last 10 years here with Shaw Homes. And I mean, we've been a company that's been in business for 35 years. We've become one of the largest builders in the Tulsa area, and that was without Clay. So when I came to know Clay, I really thought, man, there's not much more I need to know, but I'm willing to listen. The interesting thing is our internet leads from our website has actually, in a 4-month period of time, has gone from somewhere around 10 to 15 leads in a month to 180 internet leads in a month. Just from the few things that he's shown us how to implement that I honestly probably never would have come up with on my own. So I got a lot of good things to say about the system that Clay put in place with us, and it's just been an incredible experience. I am very glad that we met and had the opportunity to work with Clay. So the interaction with the team and with Clay on a weekly basis is honestly very enlightening. One of the things that I love about Clay's perspective on things is that he doesn't come from my industry. He's not somebody who's in the home building industry. I've listened to all the experts in my field. Our company has paid for me to go to seminars, international builder shows, all kinds of places where I've had the opportunity to learn from the experts in my industry. But the thing that I found working with Clay is that he comes from such a broad spectrum of working with so many different types of businesses that he has a perspective that's difficult for me to gain because I get so entrenched in what I do, I'm not paying attention to what other leading industry experts are doing. And Clay really brings that perspective for me. It is very valuable time every week when I get that hour with him. From my perspective, the reason that any business owner who's thinking about hooking up with Thrive needs to definitely consider it is because the results that we've gotten in a very short period of time are honestly monumental. It has really exceeded my wildest expectation of what he might be able to do. I came in skeptical because I'm very pragmatic, and as I've gone through the process over just a few months, I've realized it's probably one of the best moves we've ever made. I think a lot of people probably feel like they don't need a business or marketing consultant because they maybe are a little bit prideful and like to think they know everything. I know that's how I felt coming in. I mean, we're a big company that's definitely one of the largest in town. And so we kind of felt like we knew what we were doing. And I think for a lot of people, they let their ego get in the way of listening to somebody that might have a better or different perspective than theirs. I would just really encourage you, if you're thinking about working with Clay, I mean, the thing is, it's month to month. Go give it a try and see what happens. I think in the 35-year history of Shaw Homes, this is probably the best thing that's happened to us. And I know if you give them a shot, I think you'll feel the same way. I know for me, the thing I would have missed out on if I didn't work with Clay is I would have missed out on literally an 1,800% increase in our internet leads. Going from 10 a month to 180 a month, that would have been a huge financial decision to just decide not to give it a shot. I would absolutely recommend Clay Clark to anybody who's thinking about working with somebody in marketing. I would skip over anybody else you were thinking about, and I would go straight to Clay and his team. I guarantee you're not going to regret it because we sure haven't.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After after being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love building relationships, but one thing that was really difficult for me was the business side of things. The processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent. Everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us. We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due. And Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
Clay, my honor to be on your show, and thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you, so congratulations.
And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. Hi, I'm Kelsey with K&D's Woodruff Finishing. I'm business owner at 23. So I've been working this K&D's company for about 5 years now, and we started working with Thrive not too long ago. And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. That's what we're going to hit or exceed. So we're pretty excited about that. It's been pretty much just listening to what they have to say. Their hiring process has just really been incredible as far as finding good quality help, and the just the accountability of meeting up with them weekly, and like such good insight, the resources that they have for specific business questions. It's all been really incredible. It's been a great experience, so I would recommend it to anybody.
What I've seen from Clay and his group at Thrive is they'll give you a simple system, And it's the simple systems are the ones that people can wrap their brain around. They're the ones that people can work with on a day-to-day basis.
Hi there, my name is Stephanie Pipkin. I am 24 years old and I own Black River Falls Cleaning Services. We opened in April of 2019 and it is now mid-June of 2020. So I wanted to talk today about the success and growth I have achieved by implementing the Proven Path with Clay Clark's team and my business coach Luke from Thrivetime. It has been insane to say the least. I started working with them in mid-February of this year, so we're about 4 months in of working together, and it has completely transformed my business in pretty much every facet. So I'm gonna check my notes here. So in 4 months, my leads have tripled. I was getting probably like 2 leads a week. Now I'm getting more in the like 10 to 15 leads a week. I have doubled my number of employees. I'm now hitting the highest revenue weeks in the history of the company, week to week it seems like. We went from about 6 appointments today as our highest in February to now 14 to 15 appointments a day. And hiring quality employees has become much simpler and less stressful by using their systems for hiring. I typically only get maybe 2 complaints a month, if that, and everybody shows up to work. I just have really high quality employees now, especially in something people typically consider a high turnover type of work, you know, cleaning houses, cleaning businesses. I have amazing employees now, and I get rid of the ones who are not so amazing and bring on new ones because of, you know, group interviews and interviewing every single week. It's just been great, and such I don't waste as much time on low quality candidates anymore. And your coach will hold you accountable. I mean, which I love. Again, the tough love is really great. You know, Luke's like a stern father figure, but he's also nice, but also stern when he needs to be when I'm being lazy and not doing the things that I know I need to do because I don't want to do them. So that's just great. Worth every penny. I mean, I'd pay him $1 million a month if I can, and maybe someday I'll be able to, but I would just say go for it. If it seems like a good fit, just go for it. Do what they say, even if you think it's stupid or ridiculous, just do what they say because it'll work. You know, people, when they look at my business, you know, people in my town, they think I'm lucky. They think I'm just, you know, things just happen for me. And, you know, maybe I am lucky, but it has a lot to do with hard work and, you know, perseverance and, you know, working till you cry sometimes. That's just being an entrepreneur, which if you're a business owner, you understand that. But it's having these systems in place of, you know, of course I'm going to be successful. It's an absolute because I have all this stuff in the background happening, and I have Luke and Clay and everybody on their team working really hard to make sure that I'm a success, and I can tell that they are just so excited every single week when I'm having all these wins and things like that. They're so excited for me. So it's the best thing ever, and I would suggest to anybody to work with them. So sorry for the long-winded reply, but I just had so much to say, and I could go on for hours probably about how amazing they are. But thank you to Clay and Luke and the entire team there, everything you guys have done for me, and I am so excited to continue to work with you for years to come. Thanks so much for watching.
My saying is, if it's important to you, hire a coach. And I think that's one of the reasons people are not successful is they eat a cheeseburger instead of hiring a coach, you know what I mean? And so my coach pushes me. They're younger than me. They push harder. They're trained. And as my rich dad always said, you know, amateurs don't have a coach, but professionals always have coaches. So I've always had coaches for whatever is important. You know, my rich dad was one of those persons.
Most of the best in the world in business or in sports, they have also coaches on the side and mentors on the side. Why? Because they want that 1% of 1% of 1% to get better.
You're on it, man. You're on it. You're on it. Everybody, listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. You have the macro picture. Very few people have that point of view.
Clay, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. And so if you let these pinheads get in your way, you're in trouble.
The Thrivetime Show. 2-day interactive business workshops are the highest and most reviewed business workshops on the planet.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built the Thrive15.com workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every Thrive15.com workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot-coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.